Hey class, and welcome to Module 5. This is your final week of actual content in the class. You're going to be covering 3 different chapters. They're all pretty lengthy chapters, and in total a little over 100 slides for chapters 6, 7, and 8. So in chapter 6, you're going to be covering listening. This is the first chapter that I want you guys to focus on. There's 4 different objectives that I want you to focus on in chapter 6. Number 1 I have written down is listening and why it is so important to effective communication. You really can't effectively communicate unless someone is listening to what you're saying, so make sure you're paying attention to this video. If you guys recall from chapter 1, we talked about shared meaning. We talked about the sender and the receiver, and the person putting together the message and coding is the sender, and that receiver, if they don't understand the message and if they're not paying attention, you can't achieve that shared meaning because whoever listening is not going to really understand what's going on. So next, you're going to learn how to improve your listening skills. After that, I want you guys to look and see why listening is such a challenge at times. I know personally I get distracted a lot when I'm listening to things. My phone, I have it, I get sidetracked, so on and so forth. I just don't want to sit down and listen to something for very long. And lastly, you're going to employ strategies to respond effectively to what you've heard based on the audience and the occasion. Unfortunately, you're not in a classroom setting right now. You're learning online, so this will be a little bit more challenging. But I want you guys to pay attention to that. Chapter 7, we're going to be talking about interpersonal relationships. So in chapter 7, you're going to be seeing different types of relationships, the stages of the relationships, the relationship life cycles, and the role of technology that plays a part in, interpersonal relationships. I was thinking intercultural for a second, but that's fine. Now, chapter 8, you're going to be learning a little bit more about privacy and disclosure in relationships. This is very important, okay? I know as a political junkie, I love talking about privacy, the 4th Amendment to the United States Constitution, so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into that because that's not for this class. Now, you're going to also be learning emotional support messages. So say someone's down, someone's happy, so on and so forth. You're going to be learning different messages for how to deal with people who are going through different emotions. And lastly, you're going to be learning about conflict management. How about that? Fantastic. How to break up a conflict, how to go through a conflict in a relationship, a friendship, with an acquaintance, so on and so forth. You'll learn about that in chapter 8. Now, the big announcement. No test in Module 5. You will have a test in, Module 6, which is the final week of the class, and that'll be your final. So, I am turning your Module 5 test into the final. Actually, I'm joining them together. Instead of having 50 points this week for a test and 100 points for your final, I'm making chapters 6, 7, and 8, which have been my final in every single COM 100 class since I first started teaching back in 2019. I'm making that your final. Instead of 100 points, I'm making that 150 points. So make sure you guys pay attention. It's all open note, open book. This week, though, in Module 5, you still have a discussion board and you still have a chapter assignment. So make sure you guys get those in by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I look forward to grading and going through everything with you guys this week. See ya.